Hi there, folks. I'm Mike Horn, and for many, many years, my wife and I were the osprey keepers on the Quinnipiac. We started with just a few, and when the DEEP finally said, okay, you don't have to keep track of them anymore, we had fledged like 81 chicks in 1 year from about 40 nests. And so that's a recovery in spades. And they said, you're done. Oh, by the way, why don't you take care of the eagles now? A little history of the recovery of the eagles on the Quinnipiac River. Back in 2007, Julie Victoria, who was the head of the Non-Harvested Wildlife Division for DEP at the time, said, Mike, somebody said there's actually eagles back of the movie theater off of Universal Drive. And I went, can you find out if there are? And I went, and after a lot of hunting around, we found it. And yes, there was an eagle nest with a pair of eagles who were busy raising some chicks. And lo and behold, that became Quinnipiac River Eagle Nest number 1, or QE1 for short. And so the female became Queen Elizabeth I, and then by extension, the male became the Earl of Essex. Now, the good news is she did not have him beheaded. And the better news was they had a couple of chicks. And since they were an oak tree, the state came out and banded them as a male and a female. But now the bad news, they put up Universal Drive, put up that new shopping center, and the female was very skittish about being anywhere near human habitation. And so there wasn't a second nesting. So it all went away. And so that was the end of QE1. Well, I kept continuing to monitor the ospreys, and lo and behold, we had this horrendous snowstorm in 2013 on February 10th. You know you're in big trouble when CNN comes and does a report from your town parking lot, and the poor folks at Handon had 40.5 inches in 18 hours of snow. And what had happened was that new couple lost their nest. It simply, you put a couple of tons of snow on top of it, it simply broke. And so they came out to the front of State Street where they had made a contingency nest, and eagles do that. And they proceeded to build it up, and that turned out to be our first nesting. They're still there. If you go up State Street to Quinnipiac nesting site number 2, or QE2 for short, you will see the female, who was Queen Elizabeth II, and then by extension, her husband, who was a banded male, and we have a good history on him, is Prince Philip. And so her first chick, come on you, let's try that. All right, this isn't doing anything. No, now it's doing something, so let's see what it does. Interesting. Try one more thing.
We have to call.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I'm using the advanced one instead. So this is a picture of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, and they're building the new nest. And they happen to have wisteria in the nest. They also have poison ivy, but we won't go there. And it makes it look really nice and pretty. That's Queen Elizabeth. She's a big girl. This is 6.5 feet. Her wingspan is 8. Wow. She's a big girl. Wow. And her husband's a little pipsqueak. He's got a wingspan of about 7.25. He goes about 11 pounds. She goes about 16.
Can you do that wingspan again for me?
Okay. I guess you have to go. Oh, here we go.
What's the husband's name?
Okay, this is Princess Anne, and that's Daddy Bird feeding Princess Anne. And what I did was I used my spotting scope and put my camera on the spotting scope, so I was able to get some decent pictures from across the street. And she's not much to look at the time. She's got all fuzz on her, and she's gray, and very demanding. Here is her classic feed me pose. She keeps that up there and screams at the top of her lungs until somebody puts fish in that hole right there. That means feed me. And here she is a little bit older, and she is from the first nesting. And they only had the one the first time. We're on our 7th nesting now. I don't know how many chicks they had yet because hatching was only a couple of days ago. They're just doing chick stuff now. When you watch them sitting on eggs, it's like watching paint dry. I mean, just exactly that. They just sit there. But once they're hatching out, you can see her in between. The new nest, by the way, is easier to see. There's nothing in front of it. There's no leaves, there's no foliage. There's Daddy Bird. He's being pestered by an oriole. The male Baltimore orioles fly around and buzz them. One day, a couple of years later, when we had triplets, one of the chicks just reached out and went snap, and then there were 2 halves. I think they ate them, but whatever. Yeah. So that's Daddy Bird. You can just about see his band. That's Princess Elizabeth again. I mean, Princess Anne again. And
That's a nice picture.
that's the one that made the, it not only got syndicated from the New Haven Register, that one went syndicated all over the country. I just got lucky with that one. But look at that, he's got the wisteria down there. What a nice composition. It just, okay, now Annie's looking up and going, what's this stuff?
Can I eat it?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Getting a little bigger, getting much bigger, and one of the parents again. Oh, we had the fox cubs and the coyote cubs look approximately the same, except that one's a lot bigger than the other. These are coyote cubs because they're little fuzzballs, but they're this big. They're coyote cubs. I also saw the mother coyote, so being chased after for some lunch. But at any rate, they set up a nest underneath the tree because they would usually the eagles usually toss the heads over the side. And she had 8. I was never able to get more than 4 at a time.
Are these coyotes or foxes?
Those are coyotes.
Okay.
This big as opposed to this big. Coyotes don't get that big. They only get about 25 pounds or 30 pounds sometimes, even though they look bigger because of all that fur. This is a very wet and angry Princess Anne. About 5 minutes after a torrential downpour. She's not a happy camper here. Mom's feeding her. And Mother Bird, this you can see she is a gigantic bird. She's the biggest bald eagle I've ever seen. I've seen some close. Annie's close. Annie's still in the area even 7 years after her hatching. Oh, that's Daddy Bird. Sorry. See the bands on his left leg. There's a CO band, State of Connecticut, C0 band, and then the other one's Fish and Wildlife on the right leg. He was hatched in 2008 over on Lake Gillard, a couple of lakes over. So he's a local boy. And in 2013, he was just mature enough to have a family. And some other bird came along and said, hey, I got an offer for you. Would you like to raise a family? And she's about 10 years old because I've seen her in the area. And he's only about 5 at the time. So you know what that makes her? A coyote. Cougar. Yes, that's better. That's all right. I was the coyote on the brain. They're still around. I don't know what's in there. Oh, it's a rainbow. Back of the nest. Just this other stuff around. It's got all sorts of things. We got turkey, and we got deer, and we got foxes, and we got coyote, and all sorts of birds. This is a little bit later. That is Princess Charlotte flying back up to the nest after she fledged. This is her first year as an adult. She's bird nesting number 3. We did all sorts of things. By the way, I think the word the gentleman was looking for was egrets and herons. Second year shot. We had twins the second year. There they are. And the third year we had a singleton, and the fourth year we had triplets, and the fifth year we had another singleton, and last year we had triplets again. I didn't put the movie on because it would just be them triplets sitting in a nest. That's Annie. She's white as a ghost underneath. She wasn't mature then, though. Triplets, if you can tell. They're all just jumbled together. But one of the nice things about being well fed, and the birds are all well fed, so they're not in tremendous competition with each other for food, and they don't try to kill each other. Like some evilness, that's a real problem. But a problem that is endemic to the species. They have plenty of food, so they're quite sedate. And except when the first one's a female, and then all that goes away. And if the first one's a female, I have observed the first hatched female on 2 occasions, once with Princess Anne and once with Princess Charlotte, kill her siblings and toss them over the side. The parents do not interfere with that. It's part of instinct. Allegedly, there's some value to that. Who can say? But it seems to be working. They really do well when they fledge. We haven't lost a fledge. Some of them are still around for whatever reason. The males go away the following spring. Our males. All I can do is speak to what I've observed. Princess Anne is still around. Princess Charlotte is still around, and a few others. I don't remember who that is, but it's got a fish in its talons, I think. This is the new nest. After 6 nesting seasons with the people crossing over the street against my against having fits. I said, you're going to drive them away. Well, they did. They were crossing the streets on the guard that keeps you away from the railroad tracks. And eventually the birds got sick of it and put up a new nest about 100 yards further back. Now, they can cross the street if they want, but they sure as heck cannot go into the land, and they certainly cannot cross the railroad tracks without getting the cuffs slapped on. Now, that land, several years ago, the piece of land was donated by the owners, about 39 acres, to the Hampden Land Conservation Trust, of which I'm a life member. And we put up signs with the railroad's permission, saying, okay, everybody out forever, and this is the property of the Eagles, et cetera, et cetera. And the state puts up their orange signs in the spring and takes them down in the fall to say eagle nesting areas to stay away. And it was very nice of the people to donate the sign. I forget the site. I forget the name of the people, but they're really, really good thing to do. This year, they laid eggs around the 1st of March or the end of April. This is the old nest. This is a view of the new nest and the old nest. The new nest is over on the left side as you see it. And the best place to see it now is certainly in the Proto Tires parking lot, where you have a clean, straight view and there's no branches in front of it. None at all. And this is when they were sitting on eggs. The eggs apparently are on the left side of the nest. Gestation for the eggs, once they're out of the mother, takes about 35 days to hatching. Hatching has occurred a couple of days back. For this is nesting number 7. There's Mama the fish. River, they have never wanted for fish. The river is cloistered, so there's almost no traffic at all. And as a result, there's tons of fish at the bottom. I think the eagles, in summary, have given the, oh, that happens to be a red-shouldered hawk that just happened to be meeting with another one. They're always around. I think we're done. But before that, I would say, in summary, that the Eagles have given a stamp of approval to the efforts made to clean up the Quinnipiac River. And the Eagles are applauding us. Thank you.